thing is always how you live your life, and that's one big thing that you get to understand with the lessons that you learn from any other thing. Now in sports, it happens to be a little bit of the same, because there is one statement that has come through from the man by the names of Casemiro, who of course now starts feeling like it is a wrong decision that he made to come to Manchester United after, of course, Fiorentina. The president who was not happy when he left to Manchester United, even the coach by then by the names of Carlo Ancelotti, who of course fell into tears after he had finished or agreed with Manchester United, because he wanted this player Casemiro to be at Manchester United. Now that makes us talk about a lot of things in life that keep happening every time and now. And of course today, if you haven't gotten, that means tomorrow you could be getting. So the only thing is work hard and keep pushing every time and now. That's what I can tell you. Today happens to be the 19th of April 2024. As we're counting down, we're already in the 4th month of the year 2024, and a lot of things that probably will be expected to be added right there. Now what you can do is only to go to our Facebook, go to our Twitter, go to our, of course, YouTube. Those are the social handles we use, and probably drop in your comments on different questions that you will want to know, courtesy of the Whistle Time, and of course sports stories are right there. Owen Izaga is my name, and of course I'm joined in by Susie. Of course, Susie, welcome. And probably yesterday I couldn't make it on the show, but today thank God that yeah, things are getting better and better. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. We are grateful that actually today you represented in the show, and like you said, things are getting better every day and now and then. Basically, good afternoon, viewer. We're already in the house, a full house, I should say. Don't expect a lot of people when we always say full house. When we say full house, we mean the owners of the show are in the house. So we are here breaking down everything that is within sports, locally, nationally, internationally. Everything will, of course, reach you. All you have to do is keep it locked to West Nile TV, because we are here to light up the region for you.
7 minutes already past the hour over 2 p.m. and I want to say it's getting so interesting, because there's a lot coming in there. West Nile players who are playing out over, that is let's say out from West Nile in the country, but are doing very well, including Mohamed Shaban, who now tallies his goals to 14 after scoring a brace yesterday when KCCA humiliated, of course, the team of Mbarara City. It was a 4 goals to nil for that is team KCCA, with Shaban coming with a double right there. Now this takes him ahead of Nelson Senkatika, who of course is at 13 right there. Shaban keeps shining every time and now, and that's one big thing that is happening probably for Mohamed Shaban and KCCA. This season he has reached 14. Could we see him get to 20 goals?
It's quite a very good one for him. Mohamed Shaban, he has always been there. He always is in the race for, of course, winning in the Golden Boot, having in all-time more goals over the season. Mohamed Shaban, basically, if he continues to feature in the remaining goals, we are just closing. There is April. If we continue up to May, mid-May, trust me, I am seeing him reaching the result of the 20 goals. Initially, somewhere he was being benched, but if he couldn't trust me by now, Mohamed Shaban would already have registered so many goals to his names. And then in between, we also saw there was a tight mark over that Golden Boot. They were tied, I think, 3 of them. It was him, Mohamed Shaban, Asenka Ntuka, and Omedi Dennis, who were tied at the same number of goals. But I still think we are seeing Mohamed Shaban, of course, living in the rest a bit down here and trying to widen up the gap, and hopefully we pray that he emerges the overall winner at the end of the season, which is far very positive from the look of things. When we reach May, if he continues like this, no injuries, no cards and all that, trust me, we're seeing him hit the 20 goals.
The question comes to, what was the problem when he was at Viper Sports Club that he couldn't really make it to that tally? What was the problem when he came back to KCCA? In fact, the first season in KCCA, and our second season looks to be so juicy for him. When he went away to Morocco, he was not the player and that you could be expecting banging goals right there. I don't don't know how many goals he probably has banked for Moroccan side, but one of the biggest thing that you should be talking about is what is that he has gotten to himself to see that he is back on scoring ways. That's one thing I think I need to one day call Shabana off season and see what exactly we'll be telling, because now as I talk, there are very many clubs that have gotten attracted with this player. Probably you may see him next season not being a KCCA player, probably him being a player who could be shifting his club away from the country. And a lot, we did say a younger Gor Mahia were some of the names that are talking about him. Team in South Africa also being talking about him. So a lot of things that probably will be coming, and he keeps pushing, putting the zeal very, very high for the teams to see that he can deliver. What is that uniqueness he has gotten? Maybe is one thing. Could we say maybe the coming of also Abdallah Mubiru is what has given him that? Because I'm seeing Abdallah try, of course, trusts in him, believes in him, and he's the man who is really doing those things. We saw very many international players who probably came through. They were trying to push every time, but now that all these are not there, he is the guy, of course, who has remained in Ugandan football. You could talk about every time the different fans see him, they say they are saviors. They are the Rainmakers, never stopped doing that. He scored a penalty yesterday, and then he scored an open play goal, which was so good to him. And now he is 14 goals this season. Of course, 13 is Senkatuka, who of course is following him because he was ahead of Senkatuka was ahead of him. Then Amaku yesterday also made a tremendous job, scoring also a brace. That makes him to go again to add his, of course, goal tallies around now 12 in there. That shows that they are level with Dennis Omedi. It's good for the West Nile entities, good for the West Nile players who are trying to push things, work out for them right there. Brace from Fred Amaku, and then of course Abraham to Busida, of course, was another name who scored for Maroons Football Club. Right there, Maroons, just like we said, that Luzira is always going to be a hard side, and indeed they have gotten themselves to see that they were the better side against Busoga United. Now, bad one for Busoga United.
Quite a very terrible one for Busoga United, because one, they really needed this win. They are sinking each and every other time they have a fixture. When they are home, they are drawing in their games and sharing in spells. They are allowing even the visiting team to go away with at least 1 point, which is quite a very bad one. Because basically, if you look at their position on others at the table standing, you would clearly actually get to see that it's quite a very bad one for them. The season is almost closing up, and this is the time where people need the points badly. This is the time where people grabbing all the 3 points. People are looking forward to grabbing in all the 3 points whenever they are home. But it is a different case for there is a Busoga, and it's quite a very bad one for them, because being that traditional team, it really would affect the entire region, because they are representing in from there and all that. So basically, in the remaining games or in the remaining fixtures, trust me, if they try to work hard, they can, by the way, sneak out of the red zone. But then if things continue like this for them, we shall be seeing them sinking and sinking deeper into the red zone, and possibly not feature in next season in Star Times Uganda Premier League.
It's a very tight contest. That will be meaning right there, because a lot of things that probably could be pushing. It's still Busoga, who you saw last season, were trying so much to see that they needed to survive relegation. Indeed, their way made them through, and now they have gotten it there. But this means a restless first half meant very big for that is Maroons Football Club, who of course had already calmed down Busoga. Maroons are also flying well, and of course individual brilliance from different players seems to be working out for them.
Maroons is this team that I don't know why I don't believe in them, because at one time they are doing well, at another time you see them losing out their good positions, and yet all the good players are still in play. They still continue to feature in the camp and all that. I really don't know. Sometimes I fail to find the reasons to attach to Maroons not doing so well. At the start of the season they were okay. At some point, to even being okay, I always look at the table standings. And basically, you can be able to tell whether someone is good or bad from others. Their different positions on others of the table tallies. But then somewhere we saw Maroons from the top 3 coming down to sit in position number 5, and then somewhere they also slopped a little bit down, but now they seem to be at some point. I even thought they were in for the title chase. So basically, Maroons, I think, yeah, they are quite a very good squad. They have all the good players that deeply understand the culture over Ugandan football, because most of the players that they have are players that have all the experience in Ugandan football. These are people that fully understand how UPL is held and how hard work it needs to, of course, push through. So if they continue, but this is Maroons, you'll see win today. The next game, they're either drawing another game. They're not picking all them. So basically, Maroons is quite very undecidable.
As I talk right now, that defeat takes, of course, Busoga to 14th point, of course, a 14th position on the 16th log. Remember, again, there you would see that the 16 we're talking about, one is already relegated. That is Arua Hill, and now, of course, it keeps you the 2, of course, in the relegation there already, and the only 18 points again that they have geared from that is 23 games that they have played right there. Very bad one for them. Of course, the team could be going down every time. But on the other hand, you'd say Maroons have at least ascended to position number 6 this time round after winning yesterday with 28th. Of course, that they have gotten in there. Now it shows that the team is really pushing very, very hard, because it wasn't their day, I should say, but they still managed to do things. 38 points to their name and 24 games played means very big. Credit should be given to names like Orombi, who of course had a very good one, and then Amaku, who was also a very good player right there, and Tubu Syria, who also had a phenomenal performance in this game. So it's one big challenge that one should be talking about. A couple of games now will be coming. After that, you will be seeing the team of Vipers Sports Club today, and that will be taking on Chitara at home, as Chitara will be welcoming. Vipers had threatened. We're waiting to see whether they won't come. But what are you anticipating in this game?
I almost asked you, did they travel? But with your finishing words, basically we're waiting to see at 4 p.m. The game is at 4 p.m., right?
Yep.
We're waiting to see if at 4 p.m. they will appear, or Chitara will have traveled in vain, just like what Ramshako did the other time locally within Arua. Vipers are threatened, yes, that they wouldn't, of course, honor in this fixture. They want a ruling over within a space of 1 week. It's not yet even 1 week. This other game that they complained of poor officiation was just on Sunday. Today is just a Friday. You want I don't know. You want a speedy a speedy judgment into your.
Why are you so harsh with Vipers?
No. This is not the first time we are seeing clubs suffering from poor officiation. People always write
for me,
and we don't get feedback. And we've seen clubs suffer even poor officiation in the hands of Vipers at Chitende. And they write, the ruling is done. Instead, it is the referee that is punished. The rest of the things remain. The 3 points remain the other side.
I think to me, yes. Just like I said the other time when we were like, yes, first of all, that shouldn't stop Vipers from going for the game. That's one thing. 2, I don't think Vipers is saying there is, after petition, FUFA is one thing, because they wanted a hearing or some statement from them. But FUFA, I just did say the other time that will always take their time. One, that is another second thing that I remember saying about. 3, Vipers, to me, I say that was a good one, because very many clubs have raised such complaints that has not been heard. Now, to me, I think it shouldn't be so hard with Vipers, because I believe they're also trying to show their anger. I remember recently when Nuporaka showed anger through a social handle, where, of course, very many were like, this is so hard. We saw recently Arsenal Football Club showing anger on their Facebook handle. I've not seen the FA summoning them. I don't know whether they've summoned, but that is one thing. We have seen coaches talk about poor officiation. Now, in Uganda, the poor officiation looks like a normal thing. And we are still saying it is correct. For me, I would say I want to support Vipers for that. That let's keep showing out that poor officiation in Uganda exists. And what should be done? Federation needs to come up and make sure that this, but not to again stop or not to fail to go for the games. That is for me, as always, what I'm thinking. Because I believe it is a sign of showing that there is something that happened ABCD. Federation, can you also do your part and find out this? The only thing that maybe mistake they made is saying that they were threatening not to go for the game. Two, they want the report very fast. As I talk right now, the decision or the final statement or the final decision between not Adjumani, Pai the Black Angel and Young Pakwach has not yet happened because they're still finding more, trying to get more evidences and the rulings. So that is one thing also I would love to say. Patience pays. And the more you be patient, it gives chances because there's no way that the federation is going to decide prematurely before finding out. Two, there's no way your evidences you think will be enough. Also, FUFA has to do their part. Even it's not the FUFA, but it's the competition committee that is going to be doing its part to see. FUFA is a bigger entity, but there are different departments that lie under this entity. So I would, for me, say, Vipers, yes, they should honor the game, go have the games rightly, play the games, come for the game, wait for the... If in case it fails, you have option to go up to the Court of Arbitration for Sports if you think the decision was wrong. And now, just because of an officiation, because we remember when Mujib Kasule also went up to Court of Arbitration for Sports because of certain things, 1, 2. So, for me, I would say Vipers need to get to the right thing. This is now number 1 taking on number 3. Anything can happen. Vipers lies number 3. Chitara lies number 1. Yep. So that is one thing. So how are you seeing tactically this game approach today?
This game, if basically it will be played because we're not sure this game if it will be played. First of all, it's going to be a very tensed up game. Chitara sits home again, and basically they were the same team that eliminated Vipers out of Uganda Cup, and yet Vipers still wanted to exist in that very other league, hand in hand with the UPL. So one, Vipers has anger over being eliminated by Chitara because honestly, Vipers underlooks Chitara. They feel they feel they are more bigger than Chitara, which to some point is true based on experience-wise in UPL. Based on the years the two clubs have lasted in UPL, the number of trophies taken here and there. So one, there is already an anger issue that Vipers has, and secondly, if they will be looking forward to beat there is Chitara, to of course show to them that yeah, we still rule here, we have the big dogs here, you don't come from anywhere and just send us out of one of the big leagues or one of the biggest ties, competitive football ties in Uganda and all that. But then Chitara will also be looking forward to tell Vipers that yeah, even if you underlook us, we are here, we've come to write a name and we have come here to represent. So first of all, it's going to be a very tense up game. We literally saw how they played in how they played in Uganda Cup. It was very tense, and I think this time around I am seeing a draw. If not a draw, I am seeing slightly Chitara going ahead of Vipers.
Previously, Vipers and Chitara has played 3 times, and Vipers has been emerging champions right there. It's only the Uganda Cup that has separated them recently. But again, if you look at what exactly is happening, Vipers will be looking forward to see that this is it. Because Vipers imagining victorious today means they will ascend to number top, and which of course would be an advantage to them because they still have some games to talk about, to play again. So it is going to be do or die, because if you remember the last game, it was Eunice Sentamu and Bright Anukani who scored for the team, and they will also look into that. The likes of Milton Karisa, Watambalas will also want to push things work out. But for Chitara, the Dennis Omedis will also not want to keep silent to see that things really work. Paul Muchirezis, you saw them putting outstanding performance in the previous game. But the biggest thing comes to that Chitara is also going to be home. The 12-man is on their side. Vipers is going to have a lot of challenge of that. Mentally, they need to go sound because they are going to be reminding them of what happened in the Uganda Cup. And that is one thing that you should always go as a player so much mentally prepared, because these are some of the things that can move you off and make you fail to participate the way you're supposed to. So to me, I think Vipers will need this game, but they are going to do everything possible to make sure that they pick this win today, because it is an opportunity also for them, because now that they are not there in Uganda Cup, they need to ascend or go to the top of the table this time around, which is one big thing for them to achieve, and that's why they will play with all their hearts out to see that this win deserves to come. But again, Chitara will still want to be there. First timers in the league this season, being on top for all this while, like how Arsenal goes on top and you're like, yes. So can they still break that and keep it? The worst of this game could be a draw, by the way. It is a very big one, but it is going to be a winner in this game, because I'm not seeing any team losing here. I mean any team saying that it should always end in a draw or lose. Both teams are going to fight, but the two results I'm expecting is either of the team to win or the other to have it in a draw. So that means Vipers needs this more than any other person, but again, Chitara needs it because they want to maintain. So the intensity of the game is going to be hard. You're going to be seeing hard, of course, fouls, but I'm expecting a good officiation this time round from the referee that is going to be assigned for the game. So the game of high intensity means very, very big for the team. So let's wait and see how that means for a team like, of course, Vipers Sports Club, right there, that will be tussling it out from there. Yesterday, he couldn't make it because of one or two things. We had the 4th Division Leagues. How did the game at Giaco end?
There was one game on the card. Of course, Giaco had the pitch of Giaco Primary School had two teams tussling it out. There was Tanganyika a football club, and of course Airfield, a football club that had a battle in there. And between the two, Airfield already has qualified for the zonals because they have topped that table for quite some time now. The Southern Zone, they have topped it for quite some time now, and they've had an unbeaten run throughout the season. They were able to register 2 goals to their names. There is yesterday at full time. 1 goal came through in the first half, in the 20th minute, and then the last goal came in the last minutes of the game. But it's quite a very bad one for Tanganyika because one, they needed to fight, also had to see to it that they survive relegation. They sit rock bottom over that very southern side table standings. Tanganyika sits down there, whereas Airfield sits at top of the table, and Airfield continued with their unbeaten run. They continued with their good kind of play, and they continued with the high hopes of course, going in to perform as always into the zonals. And for them, it's already it's already a done deal through to zonals, and they await that as they continue to honor, of course, the remaining fixtures as it stands.
Yeah, it's a tough game. I think you should be expecting right there, though. I've not been so much following the 4th Division, but one of the things I've followed on social media is Tanganyika. I mean, Airfield, of course, with the support from one of the business companies here, probably trying to push here. And I think it's getting right well for them, and that's one big thing that we shall be expecting coming through right to the team. But if they get to the zonals, what exactly will they put and what are we going to see from them is now one thing, because there you're going to have teams that have finished top and probably making sure that they also need to perform to the expectation. So that's one big thing. We're taking a break. When we come back, we shall be coming with some of the international stories, and then we call it a day, probably for today being the 19th right there. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
West Nile TV, lighting up the region. West Nile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, another interesting one from that, and probably if you look at where we broke off from and you see where we are heading to, that means it's taking us to one of the biggest things. Yesterday, you would see two people, I mean a couple of members of parliament and at the same time people from the Federation of Uganda Football Association went to visit Nambole, and they were explained to by the in charge of UPDF, who are under, of course, constructing Nambole, about how the progress is. So India Moses Magogo, the CEO Edgar Watson, and some other members went all the way to go and, of course, see or to visit Nambole right there. So it's a very interesting one. We are waiting for the 2 weeks. I don't want to talk about Nambole, but it's one big thing. Now, elsewhere in the basketball, City Oilers are seeking for, that is a perfect start against, that is host Al Ahly. Remember, I did tell you that they will be going to play in Basketball Africa, and the Basketball Africa League fixtures are out, as Al Ahly of Egypt will be taking on City Oilers of Uganda today, by the way, 8 p.m. East African time, if you are going to be watching, as Uganda has been represented by City Oilers. What are we expecting from our City Oilers of Uganda?
It's going to be a very tough one, of course, but if you look at the City Oilers recently in their previous games, you'd literally get to see that they've been winning in most of their games. There is one game they played in Cape Town. They played with Cape Town Tigers and beat them 80-70, and then there is one they played with Club Ferroviaire de Beira, where they beat them 96-75, and then there is one they played with Legacy Athletic Club, where they did win at 96-68, and then with Al Ahly Sporting Club 70-72, meaning a very slim win for the City Oilers. With these recent runs, trust me, it's going to be a very competitive one, because the last one literally brings in the result that they have had with there is Al Ahly Club in Egypt. It is a 72-70, meaning this time around around, City Oilers were practically have been so good, but then Al-Ahly, trust me, wouldn't allow them to be beaten by the same club twice. And they've literally been also quite a very good side, so it's going to be a very competitive one.
Yeah, it's a competitive one. As being a Friday, I also need to give you the FUFA Big League games that are coming right on card, right weekend, because very many always follow how exactly is happening. Now, in the games that will be coming on Sunday, you have Police taking on Mbale Heroes, Boma taking on Blacks Power, as Lugazi will be welcoming Chiida Boys, and Karo Karunji welcomes on Duparaka at St. George's Arena. Ginger North will be taking on Kataka FC, and then of course Young Elephants welcome the team of Chigezi Homeboys. Those are the games that will be coming for the FUFA, of course, Big League right there for you. As the table standings, I will be giving you all that on Saturday, which is tomorrow, on how exactly these teams are. But remember, Police leads the table with 43 points. So we shall be having in-depth analysis about the FUFA Big League, because there's a lot to discuss there, with a couple of things that probably you really need to know. And we are really pushing very closer to where, of course, teams are trying to fight now, because few games are left and they need to qualify. Teams need to survive relegation, and that's what Big League is all about this afternoon. Now, let's get internationally. Yesterday, Liverpool couldn't overturn the 3-0 deficit against, of course, Atlanta, and indeed yesterday they also bowed out over the Europa Cup. That means it's not their day again to remain there. That means in Europa there's you should say, because yesterday Aston Villa also came back and grabbed a later, of course, win through penalties to make sure that they advance in there. But that was again in the Conference League. But in Europa, you don't have any English team that has remained. In Champions League, no. In European Cup, you only left with the Conference Cup, Europa Conference Cup, which is only Aston Villa right there. What went wrong for Liverpool?
Liverpool did play, and they had high hopes of course, overturning the 3 deficit that, of course, they had already from there is Atlanta. But then it was quite a very hard one. We saw Liverpool taking in a lead there with Mohamed Salah, as almost saying Mohamed Shaban, who opened up the scoring lines through a penalty. But then it didn't work out for there is Liverpool. They needed at least more than 3 goals to see to it that they, of course, pushed through to there is the semi-finals. And literally matches they did beat Atlanta, they were thrown out simply because the aggregate did not favor them based on the first round of this game.
Ibrahim Konate was the star player. He had played outstandingly, but things couldn't be their way. Now Liverpool are out. So you have Atlanta, you have Marseille, you have now Roma and Leverkusen, who are in the Europa League, of course, the semi-finals that will be taking place in there. In that is the Conference League. You did see Fiorentina, of course, beating team of Victoria Pleasant by 2-0, and then you have Lille, of course, winning against Aston Villa by 2-1. But Aston Villa, the first round was an advantage for them. Now they had to end in a 6-7, of course, in the penalty shootouts. And then you also did see the team of Fenerbahce in penalties, winning against, of course, losing to Olympiacos by 5-6. That was after Fenerbahce won 1-0. Then PAOK Thessaloniki against Club Brugge was still a bad one for them, as Club Brugge also won the game by 2-0 right there. When we come to some of the top stories coming in from the international, in of course one of the biggest, when Klopp was asked about why probably like that, he said their problem started when Manchester United ejected them in the FA. That was the problem in there, so it is not a very good move for them. But what else can we talk about? Now, in the English Premier League transfer speculations, Manchester United have preparing to break that is transfer record for Real Madrid star, that is Vinicius Junior, into the books. Remember, over 20 players are going to be leaving Manchester United, probably, in fact, over 10 players. 20 are some of those up to the academy, but in the senior team, around 10 players will be exiting Manchester United, according to reports coming in there. What do you think will be the positivity and the negativity for all these exodus, and of course bringing in new faces?
It's quite a very good one, because with the current squad that Manchester United has, from the manager down to the grassroots, over there is the players and all that. Manchester United literally has had in too many issues this season, with of course with illegal issues on players, personal lives, with of course the coach, with transfer. Ownership transfer and all that. So basically, Manchester United had suffered so much this season, and that has of course affected in their results. They've not been doing so well. This is clearly seen on the position they hold on the table standings of English Premier League in there. So basically, I think they are trying to reshape themselves as this season closes, because basically I think there are about 5 games remaining for the season to close. So basically, they're looking into shaping themselves to come back bigger and better next season. So basically, getting into signing a few of these players is quite going to be a very good one for Manchester United. And on signing, there is a Vinicius Junior. Trust me, it's quite a very good one, because one, I think Real Madrid is quite looking forward to offload him in order to sign. There is a Kylian Mbappe. Exactly. In order to sign, there is Kylian Mbappe. So basically, it's quite going to be a very good one. And the monies that they have attached on there is a Vinicius Junior, around 130 million, something like that. It's quite going to be a very good one to offset there is Kylian Mbappe. So basically, bringing in Vinicius Junior to Manchester United, to me, it's quite going to be a very good one.
In fact, Mbappe will come to that is Madrid for free, because he's going to be a free agent during summer because of PSG, whom of course he did say that he wants to go for free. So it's a very big one, but around 170 million is what of course is put there for this player, who joined of course in 2018, by the way, Bandabu, and he has played so far 256 games, or occasion in 256 games, scoring 77 goals for Real Madrid and 74 assists in there. That means him coming means names like Anthony are not there in the list to be there. Names like a lot of names that probably will be there. And this time around, I want to say that Ratcliffe is looking at young boys to build up the team. And if you look at this guy, he's 23 years of age, very impressive, very outstanding, and he's good. I believe he can move, because racially they have been abusing him that side so much. Racism has been one key thing. He has several times cried for that, but of course got the mental strength. Maybe coming to England will be one of the biggest things for him to achieve. But again, United, for me, most of the times players come and they don't deliver, they don't perform. What the problem is one thing that I want to really still know. Few players deliver, by the way. Man U, first season you may be impressive, but second season is always a problem. Or you be first season not okay, second season is when you can come and pick up. So we are looking into who is that coach that will be coming. That is one. So let's wait and see. That's one of the transfer speculations or rumors coming in here. As also Bayern Munich, Liverpool have now again suffered a blow because they needed this coach called Julian Nagelsmann. But as I talk right now, Julian Nagelsmann has also signed a new term contract with Germany national team, so he will still be their coach.
It's quite a very good one, of course, getting in the experience of German football. By the way, there is one thing that people need to understand, that Germany football and Spanish football are quite so different from the kind of football that England plays. So it's quite a very good one for every other coach to at least get the experience of playing the other side. So if the deal is confirmed and it goes through, it would be a very good add-on for him, and a big plus onto there is his CVs.
Yeah, it's a very big one. And now Liverpool and PSG, by the way, are fighting for one more player. That is by the names of Levy Colwill. They want him into their team. So they are also looking into seeing that this player comes to their books. Couple of them, Chelsea and Newcastle, are also moving for, that is some favorite Arsenal man they want to bring into their team. And they are saying this time around, Aaron Ramsdale is their key player that they want to talk to.
We pray that actually he accepts there is a crossover to that side. He's quite a very good one. an English professional player, and he's quite doing very well. But then literally there have been issues with we've seen a lot of players rejecting the offer of crossing to a few of these clubs. So basically we pray for the best at the end of the transfer summer.
The question is as Chelsea and Newcastle, are they the favorite place for this guy to go? Is one thing that you could be knowing right there. And Nick Pope is so much injured. Martin Dubravka has also been so much injured for that is Newcastle, and they are looking forward to see that they get in there. Even Petrovic and Roberto Sanchez for Chelsea are completing, of course, their number ones. They are competing for the number one spot. So where is he going to go? That's one big thing that you could be getting right there. Unless you have any other international story before we wind this session for today.
Not really, apart from something little I wanted to literally put on. There is the City Oilers and Al Ahly. It's going to be a very competitive game and a very good one to watch.
Okay, that brings us to today's, of course, whistle time, and we are saying probably thank you so much for those who have been following through online, and of course the platforms are right there live on West Nile TV. Up next will be